I loved this book so much, but I have one issue. Why did one woman have to suffer enough for 5 lifetimes? This is Adanna by Adesuwa Oman Nwokedi, and I've been wanting to talk about this book for the longest because I have thoughts. I genuinely loved this book, but this woman went through it. She really suffered. I love anything that Adesuwa writes. I would absolutely read anything she writes because her writing carries so much depth, and her writing has teeth, if you know what I mean. You literally feel whatever the characters are going through. Her books makes you feel. You're not just turning pages. You move along with whatever emotion the book wants you to feel. That's how good she writes. But Adanna, this woman suffered so much. You know, when something happens and I'm thinking, okay, things are going to get better for her. But then again, something else happens. And I'm wondering, why does this character have to go through so much? Why does she need so much character development? It was a lot. Adanna went through it. She went through a lot. And I mean a lot in every sense possible. And what made this book frustrating for me was that the people who made her suffer so much didn't seem to get enough punishments for all they put her through in this book. And that was just the only thing that frustrated me about this book. She suffered so much, but people who put her through a lot didn't get to suffer as much. And what they got in the end did not in any way match what they put her through. But there was one person's role in Adanna's suffering that really stayed with me. And you know who? Uzochi. The, what do I call her? The house manager at Chief Smasher. And the reason why it stayed with me was because Adanna really trusted Uzochi. She saw her as a mother figure. She saw her as a friend. But Uzochi was the architect of almost all of Adanna's misfortunes. She was the one who was plotting everything Adanna had to endure and survive in this book. She actually helped to create the hell that Adanna lived in. And that, in my opinion, is the worst hurt that Adanna had to suffer. I mean, she didn't know until towards the end of the book, but that was the worst betrayal she ever had to endure in this book, because that was worse than what the obvious villain of the book had put her through. Because at least, if I know you hate me, I know at least where I stand. But not when I trust you. I feel like a confidant, somebody I confide in, somebody who has my back. So you are the mother figure. But behind the scenes, you are instigating Chief to treat her badly. You are the full architect of her misfortune. That's a really bad place to. But Adanna herself, some of her decisions had me putting this book down at intervals. For example, wanting to elope with the gardener. Are you serious? You've tried a few of those stunts. Some are not even as much as that in the past, and it failed woefully. At least you could have tried to elope by yourself. Why drag someone else into it? You know that almost anybody who gets involved with you doesn't make it out alive. What are you thinking? But the whole situation with Akana had my flowers gasted. My jaw literally dropped to the ground each time, because that guy had guts. What do you mean you're sleeping with your father's wife? And not just with her consent. By force. And if she refuses, you don't just beat her, you batter her. I mean, you send her to the hospital. Like, most of the time she passes out from pity. You are a demon. You're not just wicked, you're a demon. This Akana was the obvious villain. He was so wicked. So wicked that even his father, the person who birthed him, was scared of him. So tell me, Adanna had nothing. I mean, in my opinion, I feel she could have tried to protect herself in some way, or, I mean, try to lock her doors like she was told, but she never did, and she paid dearly for it. I mean, after he had had his way first few times, and then she tried to refuse him. It earned her even more beating. Like, it was so bad. So bad that at the end of the day, she just had to resign herself to her fate and accept it when it comes. And then one character I actually loved in this book was Adanna's aunt. She was everything her mother never was to her. Her mother could have tried better. Her mother could have tried, really tried harder to keep Adanna. But I feel like the mother took the easier way out, which was marrying her off to Chief. I mean, I know they tried it and they exhausted almost all of their options. But what happened to starting a trade? I know you had more money, but I mean, she could have tried something else rather than putting her daughter through that. If she had to farm, she could have just gone to the farm, tilled the ground, and put food on their table and tried to pay off the debt the husband left behind after his death. But then again, her aunt tried every possible way to be there for Adanna. But it was so sad how she fell ill and died. The one person who actually cared so much about Adanna and was in support of her marriage to Chief initially. So it was sad seeing her die. One person who loved Adanna and actually showed it. And then I get to Naeto. It's true, Naeto was once married and had a bit of a squabble with his wife, and they both went their separate ways. But I love Naeto because Naeto represented the one thing Adanna never had in this book, which was safety. You recall, if you've read this book, that Adanna always had sleepwalking problems. But notice how whenever she was safe, she never sleepwalked. And that stopped when she and Naeto had a relationship. She began to feel safe because Naeto represented safety to her. She was safe with him. She felt safe with him. And that was why I really love Naeto. And Naeto is someone who wasn't scared of what Chief would do. Being a doctor, he also had his own ways of, trying to get close to Adanna and stuff. And that was very interesting. It was nice seeing Adanna finally get the love that she deserved. It was heartwarming seeing Adanna finally get her happy ending. I was very happy for her that she finally got some happiness after all of that suffering, all the struggles, all the beatings, ending up in the hospital, getting insulted. Imagine her husband at some point even had to bring in women to the house, and she was seeing all of that. Her husband even called her a whore who slept with both father and son. I mean, it was really bad, but it was finally interesting to see her get the happiness she got at the end. She finally got her happy ending. But I have a problem with the obvious villain, Akanna. Why did he have to die so easily? I mean, he died in the fire, but that was because of his own selfish reasons. He didn't want help. He fell back into the fire, and that was how he died. And that is why I have a problem with it. He died too easily. For the kind of suffering he actually put Adanna through, he died too easily. I mean, he could have suffered some more. If Adanna suffered enough for 5 lifetimes, could have suffered enough for 10. I mean, it wouldn't be bad. After all, he's the villain. After everything he did to Adanna, he could have suffered for a long time before that fire incident. Dying in that fire was, to me, an easy death for him because of all the suffering he had put. In fact, not just Adanna through, he put everybody through that suffering. His father too was so scared of him. Remember in the book, they said he brought out his daughter, he whipped his father. He could have suffered some more. I mean, at the end of the day, Chief deserved that and even more. But the book began with Chief's death. So I just feel like the villain should have suffered some more. The death in the fire was an easy death. And I think one thing I took away from this book by myself is how much I want justice to be proportional to the level of injustice that has been meted out to some people. So if somebody had suffered for long, the level of justice should be proportional to the injustice that was meted out. That's my opinion. But in the end, it was a good book, good read. Would I recommend it? Yes, absolutely. It was fun. I wouldn't say fun in the sense of fun that you think. It was very emotional, can make you an emotional wreck. I mean, she suffered a lot, but it was a good read. If you love books with depth, complicated characters, family drama, an emotional book, read Adanna. Just have some tissues nearby because you're going to be dropping a few tears here and there. But overall, it was a good book. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Adanna. And if you read it, please drop a comment. If you haven't, please try to read it. It's an amazing read. And with that, that's all for today on Esther Undefined. I'll see you in the next one.